together next year. And I think what has happened this year for both of them outside of basketball and kind of inside of basketball has only made that more likely. It's not surprising at all that their bond is as strong as ever when these are two guys that are dealing with very similar things. Two guys who have accomplished everything they could have ever hoped to accomplish on the basketball court. They have both hit shots to win championships, essentially. They have both. Kevin Durant's been a league MVP. Kyrie Irving's been as close as a player of his caliber is probably going to get, which is one tier just a tick beneath league MVP. And they have both found themselves unfulfilled. That does not make me happy. This is not what I thought it would be. And so they have a bit of a kindred spirit in that regard. And from a basketball perspective, Kyrie is the most overqualified wingman in the NBA. And by wingman, I don't mean like wing player. I mean Robin to a Batman. He is great in that role. He is great as a guy who can take over games, but does not have to every single night. We saw him play next to LeBron. He could do the exact same thing for Kevin Durant, except have the ball in his hands more often because Durant doesn't need to initiate offense the way LeBron does. So from an on-court and off-court perspective, it all makes sense. We know Kyrie has, at least in the past, shown an urge to want to play in New York. Kevin Durant is setting up his off-the-court businesses in New York. All those the Knicks have 2 max salary cap spots. All those reasons to me say it makes perfect sense that these two guys end up in New York City.
All right, so here's the thing. We talk so much about these two guys being a little bit odd, right? A little different than other NBA players, which is why it's inexplicable. We don't really get them completely. I joked about bringing snacks. I'm a bit of an oddball. You would call me a bit of a... But you know who gets me? My friend Marnie. My friend Marnie gets me, which is why we're so successful out in the open plains. Right. We really kill it out there.
Right.
There's something to these two guys forming a friendship. They get each other. And maybe that in and of itself could be enough to be successful on a basketball court, regardless of whether we get them, whether we understand them, or whether the rest of the league does.
Or the rest of the world. Because a lot of time, when you're in that rarefied atmosphere as far as a locker room, especially NBA, it's not a big locker room. You only need 1 or 2 guys to get you. Right. And especially if it's the prominent voices, if it's the leaders, if it's the highest paid, or the best players, if they happen to get you, because maybe LeBron didn't get Kyrie in Cleveland. I know Russ didn't get KD in OKC, and he's just a traveling circus with Golden State. So he's not about all the attention. So I believe that the respect that they have for each other, and maybe the lack of respect that they receive from the other prominent players that they played with. Now, I don't believe that Golden State and their stars, that they disrespect Kevin. I just believe him joining there, he didn't get the type of respect when he joined them, what he's done in the last couple finals that he thought he should get.
Especially when the guy who was the initial recruiter of Kevin Durant, long before the phone call from his car after Game 7 of the finals, during that 73-win season, Draymond was the one recruiting KD. And Draymond's the one that said, KD, leave, we don't need you. And so Steph is in a different place personally. Steph's got a wife, a couple kids. You know what I mean? Clay is his own guy. I think Clay and Kevin Durant, from everything I've read, have a good relationship. But I don't know that he has a bond with anyone on that team the way he seems to have a bond with Kyrie. And from a basketball perspective, it would work great. So I think it makes perfect sense. I think a lot of things have been building towards this.
Just like I told you when we started the show, Jenna, don't worry. Nick's not going to get you. I get you.
He doesn't.
I understand. And that's why we got a successful show.
Did you say you and your friend Marnie are out on the open plains?
Yeah.
Like it's true grit?
Yeah.
Like you would
I couldn't believe you didn't even pick up
I
on
wanted
that.
to get to the basketball point, but I wasn't going to let it go. Jenna and Marnie, riding big steeds out west.
To Big Ben Roethlisberger.
What are you talking?
Much has been made of his somewhat passive-aggressive leadership style, and that's me being passive-aggressive about describing it. Ben has been known to take some shots at teammates and coaches, but he folds them into his weekly radio appearance. Many have called on him to stop doing the show. Well, according to reports, Roethlisberger is expected to do just that. In an effort to improve relationships with his teammates, he says he might actually stop doing the show. See, is this a step in the right direction for Ben?
It would be a great move, because the one thing that it would do, and what we haven't heard is fault. Like, you know something? Like, if a relationship goes bad, there's a tremendous opportunity for both people to be able to look at it and be like, you know, what could I have done? Or what could I do different? At this stage of Ben's career, I would hate to think that he's not growing, that he's not self-reflecting, looking at, man, we lost a lot of talent. How am I going to be able to win games? Maybe I might want to look at myself. All these things people are saying. I mean, even if 10% of them are true.
Exactly.
So I believe, and a lot of guys in the NFL locker room, they don't have the power of the voice. So even if a reporter comes to them and they're a role player and they say something, it's not going to be the same as Ben Roethlisberger. And I just know through my experience, you can't always be the team spokesperson every week, because if you tell the truth, man, you're going to put yourself at odds with your teammates in that locker room. So for me, man, I stopped doing a local radio show, not because I thought that it was beneath me. No, it wasn't good service to my teammates. Me commenting, people talking about, man, you guys got a lot of problems on the offensive line. How do I make this look good? Right. I mean, the quarterback just got sacked 7 times. How do I make that look good? Because everyone knows I was open. Well, at least that's what I'm going to say as a wide receiver. So it's really hard on your teammates, and you have to be really savvy and crafty to be able to avoid those landmines that if you do a show, Tom Brady does, man, Tom Brady is coming with sweetness on his radio show when he does that national show. He's been doing it a couple years, but you can say what you want. Man, that's Lob City. I mean, let's put it on a T, man. Tom, where do you want? Oh, you want a little bit lower? Okay, right there. Oh, no, I need a little bit higher today. Oh, okay. Like last year when they went through that tough spat in New England, man, he wasn't getting any tough questions. And Tom is smart enough. That's why he continues to do it. If he wasn't speaking in good light of his teammates and it was a negative reaction from his teammates, he would stop doing it also.
I want to give, if this ends up being true, if he stops doing this radio show, I want to give Ben Roethlisberger an enormous amount of credit. You asked a couple months ago what's something Ben can change, and the first thing I said is, the first step would be just quit doing the radio show. Not only because you stop adding just potential distractions, but it would be a signal to guys in that locker room. Hey, I know publicly the organization's got my back entirely. I know publicly the GM came out and said, it's me and 52 kids. This is a signal to my teammates. I know I got to do better too. And it's not just me saying I'm going to do better. It's me doing something I enjoy doing, something that has brought me, forget the money, because the money doesn't matter, but he enjoys the outlet. Yes. I am going to remove it, even though I enjoy it, because I think you guys will appreciate that. And it shows, as the point you made is the best one. It shows that he knows, okay, maybe all of it's not true. Maybe Le'Veon wishing he and I could rap together, and Antonio thinking it was, you know, I'm a jerk. But enough of it's true. There's enough of a kernel of truth to it that I need to, even in going into year 17, I need to be better. I need to be more cognizant. I need to be more aware. And so I give a guy a tremendous credit for, it is very difficult for rich, successful men or women to change behavior at that age.
You would know.
You are, well, no, I've been around a lot.
Yeah.
And I've been around a lot of men that feel like, look at what I've done. Look at where I came from, what I've accomplished. Why would being me has gotten me here. Why would I adjust? But we can always do better. We can always be better. And so this would show a level of self-awareness that I wasn't sure Big Ben had. I wasn't sure if Big Ben had people around him that would say to him, hey, man, you shouldn't have done that, or if he had a bunch of yes men around him. And so I think it would be a tremendous signal to the locker room that he knows he needs to adjust or tweak some of his public behavior.
Because there's a feel like this is a new chapter in Pittsburgh, right? Now that Antonio Brown and Lev Bell are gone, and he's the guy, there's this sense that, okay, now we're going to turn the page. Let's see if we get off on the right foot.
I guarantee you Mike Tomlin would be happy if this was made official. Because the thing that I've always been taught is the coach is the spokesperson for the team. Now, as lieutenants, as players, we go out and we repeat the message of the coach. And, man, they have been so far apart. What Tomlin says after the game, you know something? We lost that game, but we're going to get it right. It starts with tomorrow watching the film and self-correcting ourselves. And, man, Ben does his show. It's like, are they on the same
Are they on the same team? Right.
So I believe they can get back closer together, leading Pittsburgh in the right way.
And from what I've been led to believe and what I was reading and talking to people at that radio station this week, and nobody would tell me if this was true or not, but so I'm going to trust the initial report, that when Ben initially said he wanted to do this, it was because he thought the city of Pittsburgh didn't know who he really was. And he wanted to give them an insight into who he is outside of quarterback of the team. And he also obviously had some really bad off the field allegations that he was trying to maybe soften himself to the public. Well, now the city knows who you are. Like, that box has been checked for good or for bad. And so the other thing I would say to Ben, and maybe someone did, is why are you still doing it? What is the win here? What is the positive that you are getting out of it other than it's cathartic, it's therapeutic? Well, you know, call a friend and tell them it doesn't have to be on a 50,000-watt radio.
There is no more prominent player we have in the NFL that could help their legacy more than Ben. Now, we got some guys, Aaron Rodgers, man, he needs a big year. But Eli Manning, like, not in the same class as those guys. Like, we got some